Hello everybody and welcome to Boscombe. Now just around the corner from this shopping centre is Boscombe bus station, and today was the day when the Bournemouth Bus Rally located nearby was being held. So I decided to go and ride on some old heritage buses. I only managed to get on 4 heritage buses, however I did see quite a few others. The event was brilliant and there are lots of model buses up for sale at Kings Park where the event was being held. Anyway, here was my first bus which I'd be taking to where the event was being held, which was just around the corner at Kings Park, and this was a preserved ex-yellow buses, Dennis Trident East Lancs Le Line. This was an amazing bus, however it didn't sound as good as some of the other Dennis Tridents that we used to have. As you can see, there are a number of other vehicles that piqued my interest. Unfortunately, this was one of the vehicles I didn't manage to get on. This was a Wilson Dorset Staff DB250 Optare Spectra, and I believe this particular one used to operate with a bus in Bristol, but I'm not too sure. Here I am now at Kings Park, where the event was being held. Along with a number of preserved buses, there were also vehicles from nearby local companies, and Alexander Dennis also brought one of their Enviro 400 MMCs to the event. Here is a Burrows Coaches coach. It was alright and it did do a few runs, however, overall I'm more interested in this stuff. Yes, this is some of the yellow buses and more bus stuff. This was brilliant, however unfortunately not very many of it went out. Here is a Mori Enviro 400, and here is some sort of East Lancs. I'm not too sure if it's a Le Line or a Viking, whatever it was, I did want to get on it. Unfortunately, I had to admit defeat on this one. It didn't do very many runs at all whilst I was here.
Judith. Bye.
Here is my next bus arriving into Kings Park, which would once again take me to Boscombe Bus Station and back, this time on a round trip. This was another preserved yellow buses vehicle, but this time it was in the form of a Dennis Dominator. I did quite like this vehicle, however there was a bit of a mess right at the rear of the vehicle. It also had a very nice maquette, which I believe most of the yellow buses vehicles used to have.
Especially these, because when they went, these were these were the ones that were on the 5A and 5B. It was these that British one. No, but it's the memory. Yeah. She has
You're going to go faster. Go faster. Let's look at this. It's like a 4x4, which is what's that bob thing?
I do anything the idea about something like that.
You try and do it all the same. Ask him, we let him with his new flow, and he goes back to his old way. That's not good because I was going down that road. What happened on me?
Yeah.
It also shows you the location.
Here we are making the very weird loop that vehicles had to make to get in and out of the site at Kings Park. Overall, it was quite a weird system. However, it was a very tight turn to get into there if you're coming from the main road, which most of the buses were.
I'll speak with Leo when he gets here.
Now I'm back at Kings Park. Another vehicle that piqued my interest on the 19 service to Boscombe bus station and back was this Exmoor bus and Wilton Dorset Volvo B7R Rally Bright Eclipse Urban. This was a fantastic motor, and once again I would take this on a round trip to Boscombe bus station. Just a little heads up, that was the only route I actually went on. I didn't go on any of the other routes which went around the local area and to Bournemouth railway station later on in the day. This vehicle was originally part of the Go Ahead group with the Wilton Dorset company. However, this vehicle does have Moorbus branding, which was originally used on the M1 and M2 routes between Poole and Bournemouth. However, later on, the Moorbus network started to expand, and in the end, they were totally rebranded as Moorbus, and Wilton Dorset was no more. Here I am arriving back into Boscombe bus station. On most of the journeys we had around a 5-minute wait here. However, this time there was only a 2-minute wait for passengers to get on and off and to take pictures of the vehicle.
How are you, alright?
Yeah, fine, thank you. You?
Yeah,
Hold on.
Here I am back at the site where the event was being held for the final time. It was only around 2 o'clock, however it was a very long drive back and I don't particularly know Bournemouth that well. Heads up, I wasn't actually driving. If you know me, I am way too young. And even when I'm old enough, I'm not going to get a driving licence. If I can, I'm just going to use public transport to go along with the theme of this channel. My final bus was a bit of just a bog standard one really. It was a Moorbus ADL Enviro 400. Really, I wanted to get on some more yellow buses vehicles. However, some of the vehicles were only doing 1 or 2 runs a day, and well, I didn't really have time to wait. However, it would have been nice to have gotten on the Daymori Enviro 400 or the X-Go Northeast Right Eclipse Gemini that was also hiding in the Moor bus area. Just before I left, here we are passing some of my favourite vehicles, including the Optare Spectra and the Optare Solo, both wearing Wilson Dorset liveries. Here I am arriving into Boston bus station. Now, I didn't really feel much after this, obviously, as well. After this, the bus just kinda left with a massive tone at the end. Well done to the driver of this vehicle, whoever it was. Congratulations, it was an amazing tone. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and I may come back down here next year for the Bournemouth Bus Rally. It all depends really on how I feel, as I want to come back down here for the 3rd or 4th time this year to get on some of the open toppers. Whether or not it will happen, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Bye everyone!